Okay, thank you, Shimad. So I have to. Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, so I have to go to these. Da, 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 da. Okay. Oh, this is the problem. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so I have to clear the whiteboard this way. So at times it takes a lot of time. Oh yeah, cool. Okay, now we are good to go. One moment. Well, I'll share with you all that what I'm doing. Otherwise, you may wonder why I'm pausing this. Is it shared now? Okay, let me click here. Hey guys, good afternoon. I'm videotaping. I'm videotaping on two different things. In case one fails, at times I may forget. So by the time the second one will help us, right? Okay. So at times I may ask you some questions. Please respond and don't go away. Especially today's class and tomorrow's class, these two are very important. Okay. Well, in today's session, you are going to learn and apply how to find the volume of the combination of solids. So let me read that learning target. You will be able to apply previously learned volume rules to solve combination of solids in real life scenarios. Okay. So, okay. Now these are the rules which already you learned earlier: volume of a prism, volume of a pyramid, volume of cylinder, volume of cone, sphere, hemisphere, etc. Okay, so let's have a quick look at these. Volume of a prism, which is, let me increase the thickness. Okay, so it is area of base times height. Volume of pyramid, it is more or less the same way as the volume of a prism, but in addition to that, 1/3. I hope you remember the difference between prism and pyramid. If you take a block kind of this one, do you see that here? Whatever the base shape is, this is a square, and even the top is also a square. And what is a pyramid means? Pyramid is here it is what see the base is it's a rectangle, sorry, square, and when it comes to the top, it is having a pointed tip. This is the pyramid. Okay, again I'm repeating, the difference between prism and pyramid is, if you take a prism, whatever the base shape is there, and the top is also having the same shape, that is prism. And when it comes to the pyramid is having the pointed tip at the top. Okay, right. Now let's quickly go to the cylinder. You know that cylinder, this is the cylinder shape. And what is the volume of a cylinder means? Technically, we take the same formula, which is area of base, which is the shape of the base. You see that it is a circle. Therefore, it is pi times radius square. That is that the area of a circle is pi r square. Okay, that one multiplied by height. Next, in the previous classes, we discussed that if you take the cone, volume of the cone is 1/3. Just if you want, you see this one. If I put one inside the other, do you see that there are three parts? There are three parts. 1, 2, 3. Therefore, cone is 1/3. 1/3. Because if I consider this as three portions, then this is one portion out of three, right? Or else you can experiment that, bring some liquid, maybe sand or some water or any liquid or solid, and if you pour into this one, three times you have to fill it. Therefore, three times the volume of cone equals to volume of the cylinder. I'll say that this is 1/3. Okay, now let's quickly jump to the questions. Let me minimize myself. Okay. Well, so the next page, really quick, few calculations to quickly remind you that how to compute the volume of cylinder, prism, and cone. So you have to memorize all these. Volume of a cylinder equals to pi times radius square times height. I strongly recommend you to write the formula, because when you write it, it reminds you to take the radius. But I see that here, these 10 centimeters are marked, which is edge to edge and passing through the center. Therefore, this one must be diameter, right? Therefore, diameter equals to 10 centimeters. Therefore, what is radius means, radius is half of the diameter. Therefore, radius is going to be half of 10. That gives me 5 centimeters. So pi times radius is 5 units. So radius square times what is the height means, you can see that it is marked as 15. Okay. So pi times 5 square gives me 25 times 15. At times we take the value of pi equals to 3.14 or 22/7, but at times we express in terms of pi. I'll explain the difference between these two. Suppose if you are finding volume of a cylinder, volume of a cone, or volume of a sphere or hemisphere, we express the answer in terms of pi. But when you are taking the combination of solids, then we take the value of pi is 3.14, and then we add that result to the next one. Those we'll discuss later. So here I'm not taking the value of pi as 3.14. Okay, so what is 25 times 15 means? Make use of calculator. I guess it is 375. Pi times 375 or 375 pi, it's one and same. Let me not make a mistake. So 25 times 15, yeah, it is 375 pi. You know that the volume is always expressed in cubic centimeter, cubic units, so it is cubic centimeters. So we are done with the first part. Coming to the next one, I see that this one is a prism because there is no pointed tip. right? Therefore, volume of a prism equals to area of base. Area of base multiplied by height. You know, base means it is not necessary to take this one as the base. Okay, you may take even this face also, this one. Okay, for example, suppose if this is the given block, okay, this is a given block. So I know that this is the base, but if I make this one to stand this way, if I make this one to stand this way, then this one becomes the base. Does it make sense? Right? Therefore, base means here I'm taking the rectangle which is painted or shaded in green color. Okay, so this one is area of a rectangle. Rectangle means that is area is length times width, which is 5 times 2. 5 times 2, that is 10 units. And what is height means? As I mentioned before, if you are given the block this way and I made to this one to stand up, therefore this becomes as the height. This becomes as the height. Therefore, here I see that this one is going to be the height. Therefore, height is 8 units. 10 times 8, that gives me 80 cubic units or cubic centimeters. I'm done with the second one. Next one is, it's a cone. So volume of cone. Already I mentioned several times, when a question is involved with circles, always check whether the given value is it diameter or radius. I see that this is marked from edge to edge and passing through the center. Therefore, this one is the diameter. Due to lack of space, I'm writing diameter is 8 feet. Then what is the radius means? You know, radius is half of the diameter, which is 4 units, so 4 feet. Now, as I mentioned before, please don't forget, if diameter is given, don't bother about the rest of the question. First, you compute what is the radius. Then only you write what are the remaining formulae. So volume equals to 1/3 pi times radius square times height. Now just plug in these values. Pi value, let it be pi. What is radius? You see that 4 units. So 4 square. What is height of the cone means? You see that this is given as 9 units, right? Therefore 9. So 1/3 pi, 4 square is 16 times 9. I personally prefer, if possible, I prefer to cancel out. So 9 divided by 3, that gives me 3. So the end result is 16 times 3, 48 pi cubic feet. That's the volume of the cone. So quickly I thought of revising a few questions. Next one. This one, you see that it is having a pointed tip at the top. Therefore, you see that pointed tip at the top means this is going to be a pyramid. This is going to be a pyramid, right? So what is the formula to find the volume of a pyramid means? All these things I memorized, so I don't have any difficulty to write this formula. So volume of a pyramid equals to 1/3 area of base times height. I prefer to do it piecewise. What is the shape of what is the shape of the base means? I see that this one is in the shape of a cylinder. Oops, sorry, not cylinder, triangle. My bad. So you see that the base is in the shape of a triangle. So what is area of base means I have to write the condition to find the area of a triangle. Half times base times height. So let me do this piece of what is base means. You can take 12 or you can take 8, either. It makes no difference. Okay. So which one means I'm taking 8 as base? Then obviously the other one is going to be the height. In case if you take 12 as the base, then 8 will become as the height. Doesn't matter. So here half times 8 times 12. So half of 8, that gives me 4. 4 times 12, that is 48. Now let's continue taking the other values. 1/3 of 48. And what is the height of this one means height of this pyramid is 16 units. 16 units. So let me go by this butterfly method. 48 divided by 3, that gives me 16. 16 times 16 is 256. Correct me if I'm wrong. So 256 cubic units. Here it is not mentioned whether centimeters or whatever it may be. So it is just written as cubic units. Okay. Questions on this? Any questions? Well, if you have any questions, please send an email. Okay. Next one is Chanel designed her perfect wedding cake. She wants to have 3 layers. She is planning for a very, very big cake. Okay. I love cake. So she wants to have 3 layers with smooth white frosting on cake. The first layer will have 24-inch diameter. As I mentioned before, always check whether the given values are the radius or the diameter. Okay. Second layer will have 18-inch diameter, and the top layer will have 10-inch diameter. And each layer is 6 inches tall. 6 inches tall. I see that these 3 layers, each layer is resembling with a cylinder, right? Therefore, I have to compute. Say that volume of layer, that is the top layer, and next I have to compute volume of the middle layer, and next I have to compute the volume of the bottom layer, and if I sum up, then I'll get the total volume of the cake. Right? Now, volume of the top one, which is in the shape of a cylinder, so let me write that volume of cylinder equals to pi times radius square times h. So pi value I'm not taking here, and what is radius means here we are computing the top layer, right? Therefore, I see that the top layer has 10-inch diameter. So diameter is 10 inches means obviously the radius will be half of 10. That gives me half of 10 means which is 5. So 5 square. And what is height means each layer is 6-inch tall. You can see that therefore this is 6-inch tall, this is 6-inch tall, and this is 6-inch tall. Okay, therefore height is 6. So pi times 5 square gives me 25 times 6, 25 times 6, that is 150 pi cubic units. That I'll write at the end of the story. And next, coming to the second part, that is the middle layer. This is also in the shape of a cylinder. So volume of a cylinder equals to pi times radius square times h. Pi times what is radius means. Please, you have to be really careful. The middle layer has a 18-inch diameter. Diameter means we have to compute the radius. If diameter is 18, then obviously radius will be half of 18. What is half of 18 means? You know that is 9 inches, right? Therefore, 9 square times what is height means the middle layer also is having a height of 6 units. So pi times 9 square gives me 81 times 6. Let me quickly compute. 486 pi. Just I multiplied. Okay. And next, volume of the bottom layer. This is also in the shape of a cylinder. Therefore, volume of a cylinder equals to pi times radius square times h. Pi times what is radius means. Again, don't be in a hurry. Here you see that the bottom layer has 24-inch diameter. This is the tricky part. When diameter is given, you have to compute the radius. If the diameter is 24, you know that radius is half of that, which is half of 24. That gives me 12 units. So 12 square times what is the height means. Again, this is also 6 units. Therefore, pi times 144 times 6. So the result will be 864 pi. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it's 864. Now, these 3 layers are we computed separately. Then after that, if you sum up, right, volume of this one plus volume of this one plus volume of this one, then you'll get the total volume. Therefore, let me grab my calculator. 150 plus 486 plus 864, that is giving me 1500 pi cubic. The answer is, the units are in inches, therefore these many cubic inches. So she's planning such a big one. But an important thing is, suppose if you go to a deli or maybe a bakery, and if you ask that 1500 pi cubic inches of cake means, they can't understand, right? So here we have to take the value of pi as 3.14 and multiply. Does it make sense? So this is multiplied by 3.14 and I got 4,710. Oh my gosh, so she is planning for such a big cake. So the volume of this one is 4,710. Questions on this? We computed 3 layers of cake separately and then we added to get the total volume of the cake. Any questions on this? Okay. So let's go to the next question. As shown in figure, a cubical block of size 7 centimeters is surmounted by a hemisphere. So here, look at this one. One moment. Please see that is this resembling with the above diagram? Is this resembling? Right? So what you are going to do is you are going to compute volume of hemisphere. I'm sure you know how to do it, and you know how to compute the volume of this cube. And when you sum up, when you add these two, then you get the volume of this, right? Okay, again I'm repeating, you compute volume of the hemisphere and you compute the volume of the cube. Then when you add these two, then you'll get the volume of this one, right? Okay, so let me minimize myself, right? So here we have to compute these two separately. The first part is volume of a hemisphere. Volume of a hemisphere. Let me write it here. Volume of a hemisphere equals to 2/3 pi times radius cube. So 2/3 pi. Please remember we are computing two different values. Anyhow, we are going to sum up. So please express this one in some decimal number. So here the value of pi is taken as 3.14. Then what is radius means? Here, please notice that this length is given as 7 centimeters, 7 centimeters, which means the diameter, because edge to edge, please notice that this edge of the hemisphere to this edge of the hemisphere means this one represents the diameter, right? Therefore, diameter is given as 7 centimeters. Then what is radius means? This is going to be half of that, which is 3.5. Okay, 3.5 cube. So let me grab my calculator and compute what is the 2/3. Okay, let me take this 2 divided by 3 times 3.14 times 3.5 cube. See, I recommend you to put the parenthesis. Do you see that? I suggest you to keep the parenthesis properly. Here I'm going to show that. Please see that I'm using a parenthesis. Do you see that? I'm not sure it is too big. Okay, so what's the result here? 89.75 I got 89.75. Therefore it is 89.75, actually 89.7516666667. So after decimal you take only 2 digits. Therefore this many cubic centimeters. So I'm done with part 1, and the second part is this is a cube. Okay, so let me compute volume of a cube. Volume of a cube is side times side times side, or maybe side cube. Either of these two you can write. So I see that 7 centimeters, 7 centimeters, 7. 7 times 7, 49. 49 times 7, it is 343 cubic centimeters. Okay. Already I mentioned before that we computed these two volumes separately, and when you sum up, then only you'll get the total volume, right? Therefore, in order to get the total volume, we have to add these two. That gives us total volume. Total volume equals to, let me grab my calculator, 343 is added to 89.75, boom, 432.75 cubic centimeters. That's the volume. Questions on this? Most of the time, only Timothy responds. At times to others. Come on, I see that there are 10 students here. Out of 10, 2 are my screens. How about the others? Please, friends, please. I want you to respond and don't sit quietly in front of the system. If you want to get really good marks, I want you to participate. I'm not teaching you any rocket science. Only thing is you have to memorize the rules. Preferably you switch to the full screen mode, then you can watch better. Please switch to full screen mode so you can watch the lesson better. Well, next question is, if a 5 centimeter house is being built for a housefly, blah, blah, blah. So here, I see that, okay. Now this one is resembling with this one. Okay, so let me enlarge a little. Okay, now please see that is the above diagram representing with is it resembling with this one or not? Again, you have to compute volume of the upper portion and volume of the lower portion. See that these two are two parts. So this one is a pyramid and this one is a prism. These two you have to compute separately. Again, I'm repeating, you compute the volume of the pyramid and compute the volume of a prism, and when you sum up, you get the total volume of this one. Okay, right? So you have to decompose, you have to separate them, simple. Then find the volume of each, then add them, you got the answer. That's it. So now let's go to the question. So how to compute this one means the upper part, this one is representing a pyramid, and the lower part is representing, this one is representing a prism. Okay, so the first one is volume of a pyramid. There is a small tip. You take volume of cone or you take volume of pyramid, the top is a pointed tip, right? You take a volume of a pyramid, okay? The top is a pointed tip. You take a volume of a cone, even the top is, in this case also, it is a pointed tip. The formula starts with a 1/3. It is 1/3 pi r square h, and this one is the tip is a pointed one, means we start with 1/3. Therefore, volume of pyramid is 1/3 area of base times height. Okay, so 1/3. What is area of base means? I see that this is the base. The dimensions are not given. But I know that the bottom one, which is highlighted in yellow color, you see that the dimensions are given there. So here, length is, my bad. So here, length is given that 8 centimeters and width is given as 4 centimeters. Therefore, obviously, the opposite sides are equal. Therefore, they are also 8 and 4. So the base is in the shape of a rectangle area, that is the length times width. Therefore, let me take 8 times 4 times height. What is the height of this pyramid means? You see that that is 6 units. Okay, make use of calculator. you should get 64. We are computing volume, therefore cubic centimeters. Make use of calculator. And next, coming to the second part of the question, the bottom one, that is a prism. Therefore, volume of a prism equals to area of base times height. Now just plug in these numbers. Area of base is a length, that is again in the shape of a rectangle. Length times width, which is 8 times 4. And what is height means? Please notice that this is the height. This is the height of the prism, right? I hope you can see that it is 5 units. So 8 times 4, 32. 32 times 5, 160. 160 cubic centimeters. As I mentioned in the beginning of the question, when you add these two values, that gives you the total volume. So let me add these two, 64 and 1, therefore 224 cubic centimeters. Now, questions on this. Any questions? Thank you, Timothy. You are always the best, and you are always you come forward. Thank you, Shima. Okay. See, there are 7 students. I received response only from one student. Do I have to consider the others are offline, or just are they just logging in and going to another room and sleeping? Sorry to say that way. Jonathan, do you have any questions? Lateral, Romeo, any questions? Shimar, any questions? See, though I'm calling their names, they are not responding. Does it mean, are they offline? Toya, Jack, any questions? Okay. Next question is, a can has a volume 3165. It is supposed to be inches cube. It's a typo error. Please excuse me for that. It is cubic inches. And height of 14 inches. What is the diameter? You know, when we are talking about can, so can, let me think of a soda can. Therefore, the soda can is in the shape of a cylinder. Oh, so I have to think of volume of a cylinder. So volume of a cylinder, let me write the formula, which is pi times radius square, times height. You have to memorize all these formulas. Now, here volume is given as 3165 cubic inches. Therefore, this one to be plugged in here. Therefore, 3165 equals to, the value of pi can be taken either 3.14 or 22/7. So let me take 3.14 times radius square. What is the height means? You see that in the given question it is mentioned as 14, so just plug in here. So I'm taking, again I'm repeating, height is given that it is 14 inches. Therefore that value goes here, okay. Now I want to isolate the radius part. Therefore you know that how to do that. We go by inverse operation. So division by 3.14. Okay. And also 14, I see that multiplying. So here also you divide by 14. So division means denominator 14. Okay. So I'm taking my calculator at this point. Let me strike out 3.14 and 14 and 14. Therefore, please be careful. There are high chances of forgetting to write the exponent square. You may write radius, but it is not radius square. Okay, so let me make use of calculator. 3165 divided by 3.14, and also that is to be divided by 14. The result is 71.99. 71.99. I see that it is pretty close to 72. There is nothing wrong to round it to 72, or else you can take as 71.99. I hope you remember that how to eliminate the square. If you want to eliminate the square on the other side, you have to keep square root. Again, I'm repeating, if you want to eliminate the square on one side, the other side, you have to compute the square root. So, square root of 71.99, that's the radius value. So let me take my calculator. Then here I'm computing what is the square root of 71.99, 8.48. So 8.48, that's the radius. Yay, I'm done. Actually, this is what you may think, but you will end up with what are the answer you got that is not complete answer, because the question is what is diameter. This is what will happen during testing. During testing, you may think that you got the answer, and unfortunately the options will be given as 8.48 as the one of the answers. So you may choose it and you may think that you got the correct answer, but the computer grades that one as a wrong answer, because the question is you're asked to find the diameter, not the radius. So just double the radius, then you get the diameter. You know the diameter is twice the radius. So let me take twice this one. So times 2, 16.96. 16.96. These many inches. Okay. During testing, whatever the answer you got, if it is one of the options, then cool, then you can choose that. Suppose if you don't have the number, whatever you got as the answer during testing, like say 15, 16, 17, 18, but you see that you got the answer as 16.96. So in such case, you take the nearest value, which is 17. Okay, don't think that what is the answer you got that is not correct. So you may have to take at times, because the answer is rounded. Okay, so let me go to the last question for this session. The perimeter of a square tabletop is 30 feet. What size tablecloth is needed to make sure to cover all of the table? Okay, so let me analyze the question part. The perimeter of a square. So let me write the formula or condition. So perimeter of a square equals to 4 times side. In fact, we have to memorize all these rules. It is 4 times side. Now, please notice that perimeter of a square is given as 30 feet. 30 feet. This value is to be plugged in here. This value is to be plugged in here. Therefore, 30 equals to 4 times side. Now it's easy. You know how to isolate side. We go by inverse operation. So division by 4, you get that side equals to, you can make use of calculator, you'll get that 7.5 feet. Okay, but this is not the end of the story. The question is, what size of tablecloth is needed to make sure to cover? Okay, just imagine that. The table top is to be covered. Let's say that with this kind of a sheet. So this sheet means how to find the sheet, how much, what size is needed means now we are technically computing the area. Does it make sense? So area of the rectangle we have to find. I'm sorry, here this is the case of a square. Therefore, let me compute that area of a square. So area of a square is side multiplied by side. Therefore, 7.5 multiplied by 7.5 is 56.25. It's area, it's not volume. Therefore, this is going to be these many square feet. Okay. Okay. That's it from me for today's session. Do you have any questions? Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching the class. That's it from me for today's session. See you tomorrow in another session. Till then, bye. Have a good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning. See you in the next session. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Mr. Booker. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.